Alright, so for starters, big news. Hunter x Hunter will return April 18th. The manga will be back. But besides that, myself and a lot of the Hunter x Hunter fandom, yes, I'm including myself because I have been a part of this, have had a lot of negative things to say about Yoshihiro Togashi going on hiatus. We just felt like it was unfair, and we've said a lot of different things, especially myself again, about, him just taking these breaks. But I read this interview, which I'm going to read it to you guys because it's something else. And a lot of what Togashi said, I understand, I respect, and to a certain degree, I relate to. And I think, honestly, after reading this interview, regardless if he comes back with Hunter x Hunter and does 5 chapters and goes away again for 2 years, I don't think I'll ever make another Hunter x Hunter hiatus joke again. And here's why. Let's read this. On finishing the serialization of Yu Yu Hakusho, looking back on failure. If I'm honest, I'm feeling a great relief and pleasure at the thought that I've finally been able to finish Yu Yu Hakusho. It's not that I've lost all emotional attachment to the work, but I feel that my stress levels have greatly surpassed my will to work. The 6 months leading up to the concluding chapter felt awfully long to me. To tell the truth, it had already been decided that Yu Yu Hakusho was going to end in December 1993, or rather this was a decision that I forced on the editorial staff. There were many reasons for this, all in all about 50 big and small ones, but in broad strokes, these were the major reasons. My body, thoughts I had about what it means to draw manga, and desire to do other things besides work. Now, mind you, in case you don't know Yu Yu Hakusho, that was the major big work he did prior to Hunter x Hunter. So these were the things that he was thinking of even before he got to Hunter x Hunter, and more than likely why he takes these hiatuses and these breaks. Point 3 is out of the question for a professional manga writer, desire to do things other than work. Basically, I wanted to indulge in my hobbies, rest, and sleep as much as I could. Most of my 50 reasons fell into this category. Point 1 was caused by point 3 not being fulfilled for too long. From when Hakusho began serialization up until the start of the Dark Continent, I had half a day off work every week in which I caught up on sleep. Other than that, all I had time for were occasional naps, and I'd indulge in my hobbies by sleeping less. For a while, I quite enjoyed this, but my HP, as they say in RPGs, was gradually but surely falling. And around the time that I wrote a 31-page one-shot and simultaneously had to do color pages, my heart began to hurt every time I went without sleep. And then it began to hurt more and more often. This was when I seriously started to think about the pace of production for manga. I thought I probably wouldn't be able to keep regular hours, but if I sleep as much as I want to, when I want to, how much would I be able to produce? I tried it out and immediately began to fall behind schedule, but I try to get my sleep every night. Around this time, my feelings about writing manga as a profession began to change. I don't want to die from overwork. If I die, I want it to be when I'm having fun or when I'm drawing manga for fun. Color pages are scary. One-shots are scary. I also began to use some time before going to bed to relieve stress, and I fell even more behind. And at the point where Sensui and Yusuke were fighting, this reached its first peak. But also around this time, I realized I was starting to experience a different kind of stress. Because I had stopped overworking my body and started to relieve my stress, I was feeling stressed that I couldn't draw manga in a way that satisfied me. This is where point 2 comes in. I believe that anyone who draws has a desire to attract people with their art, but this is an ambition that I had suppressed for a long time. This is because back when I had my debut, my editor at the time showed me a manga page by Hagiwara Kazuki, bastard author. I felt that if I was honest with myself, my art would never be able to compete with something like this, but I was never able to throw away my ideal of being able to draw manga without help from other people. A few times during the run of Hakusho, I finished my manuscripts all by myself. All of these instances were when my stress levels were at their highest. I don't know if anyone will understand, but when I was stressed because I wasn't satisfied with my manga, the only way for me to relieve this stress was to draw all my manga by myself. As a result, those chapters ended up horrible. Both the characters and backgrounds were messy. The one-shot, two-shots, Karasu versus Kurama, Yusuke versus Sensui, the scene where Yusuke meets Raizen, I drew most of those alone. The latter two were finished in a half a day before my deadline, as a reader guessed and criticized in the letter. This might mean I fail as a professional, but I was satisfied. I already started to think that no matter what anyone says, no matter how messy the finished pages are, I just wanted to draw this by myself, and I had no reason not to go through with it. It's sad as me to say this, but I had explored every possible direction for the Yu Yu Hakusho characters that I could go in context of a professional publication. All I could do at this point was to start deconstructing the characters or go on repeating the same storylines over and over until the readers got bored. My attempts to deconstruct the characters were of course turned down by Jump. I didn't have the strength physically or mentally to keep doing the same thing over and over, so I went ahead and did what I always wanted to do. If I ever managed to have a long serialization in Jump, I will end it on my own terms. I knew that Jump dropped the manga after 10 weeks if the reader surveys proved it to be unpopular, and I knew this when I started working working for them. The system proved encouraging for me, and I learned a lot by being aware of readers' reactions, but I ended up wanting to draw manga for myself without thinking about anyone's reactions. I don't believe that anything I came up with on this premise will live up to Jump standards, so I will not try. In conclusion, I ended Yu Yu Hakusho because of my own selfishness. I'm sorry. There's another interview in there, I'll link it all in the description below, but just reading that, wow. I mean, I totally get it. At the end of the day, he just was going physically and mentally insane. In the interview, actually, he talks about at one given point when he was drawing the Sensui fight, that just sitting down to draw, he would get nauseous because of the thought of having to draw and shit like that. When you're at that point, no, I definitely say that's when you gotta reevaluate things and change the way things are going. And honestly, I respect and I understand and can relate to a certain degree to him because, I mean, going back to 2014, when I started to notice myself that I was doing YouTube to the point of like doing 4 and 5 videos every single day, and I wasn't having time to do anything that I wanted to do. I was just kind of like, you know, watching what I needed to watch, reviewing what I needed, you know, it really got to the point where I was thinking to myself, damn, like, do I want to keep doing it this way? And that's why the events of, you know, how I was doing videos in 2015 happened, because it was just kind of like one of those meltdowns. So to a certain degree, obviously not on the insane schedule that they work, I understand where Togashi's coming from, and I respect and I get it. And from here on out, no matter what, I will no longer make a hiatus x hiatus joke, because it's not a joke. Honestly, when you see shit like this, it's sad. And yeah, I get why he does what he does now. But let me know what you guys thought of this interview. What did you think about Togashi's work ethic? Do you understand a little bit better now? Will you continue to be upset when he takes his hiatuses, or listening to shit like this makes you kind of put it into perspective what he goes through mentally when he has to draw? But thanks for watching. If you enjoyed anything about this video, make sure to drop me a like. I'd greatly appreciate it. And if you want more from me, make sure to subscribe, follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and stalk my Facebook to get more when the video ends. I'm Finette World, and as always, people, have an awesome day. Once again, Hunter x Hunter returning April 18th.